How's it going, everyone? Sniper here, and I've got the Post Draft Power rankings for the World Pokemon League. And at number 8, we've got Ed, coach of Bob. Uh, not only does he have the most uninspired team name ever, he's also at the bottom of our power rankings, and he has really good hazard control considering he has Charizard and Yamega. Both 4 times a week to rocks, as well as having Weavile and Gliscor and Archeops. He does have Blastoise and Latias as phenomenal hazard removers, so does Gliscor, and Archeops can also defog. However, he does have a couple notable flaws. He has Mega Garchomp, but he has no way of setting sand, which you could argue. I personally think that Mega Garchomp is a lot better in the sand, and he had because he couldn't make the draft, he did draft his picks afterwards, but Hippowdon was still on the board. Tyranitar was gone, but Hippowdon was still on the board, so he could have potentially picked that up and built a really nice sand team around Mega Garchomp. He also has a outrageous ice weakness, having Mega Garchomp, Druddigon, Latias, Nidoqueen, Yamega, Gliscor, and Archeops all weak to ice. Charizard is neutral, and then his resists are Weavile, Bishop, and Blastoise. Blastoise is a good one, Bishop is a decent one, but Weavile you don't really want switching into hits. So unless he brings Blastoise or Bishop every week, like, he's got nothing for to take a nice hit, because he's going to have at least 2 Mons who are going to be weak to ice, which means he'd have to bring Charizard, Blastoise, Bishop, and Weavile, which doesn't have a whole lot of diversity, and then you'd have to bring his 2 other Mons. He does have pretty decent hazard stacking. He has T-Spikes and Rocks in Nidoqueen, Rocks in Gliscor. I think Archeops gets Rocks. Garchomp gets Rocks. Druddigon as well. So overall, this team has a lot of room for improvement. Number 7, we've got Jack in the David Camerups, and his first 3 picks, he got Volcanion, Klefki, Mega Sceptile, which gives him his Firebolt, Grass, Steel Fairy, Dragon Claw right off the bat in 3 months, which is pretty impressive. However, it starts to go downhill from there. He picks up the Blade and Umbreon. Umbreon's phenomenal, really good cleric for him. Helps with Volcanion and Mega Sceptile. However, the Blade wasn't really needed because he had Klefki already. And then when he picked up Aggron, I was really confused because he didn't need Aggron. Now he has 3 Steel types. He also, in the last 2 rounds, picked up Dusclops and Spiritomb, and they were not needed at all. Now, he has 3 Ghost types as well, 2 Dark types, so Spiritomb was completely inappropriate. And then he got Staraptor. Well, in the middle of the draft, he got Staraptor, and Staraptor actually fits quite nicely on his team. Infernape, I don't really get. It gets Mach Punch and Fighting Stab, gives him some initiative, a bit more speed, but he has a lot of speed in Mega Sceptile already. And then Torterra I do not get at all, because that gives him a 4 times weakness just to ice, just like Mega Sceptile. And hazard stacking, I guess it's pretty good. Aggron, Torterra, Infernape, Klefki. But his hazard removal is absolutely abysmal, because Staraptor is his only Pokemon that can remove hazards with Defog. However, you don't really want to be using Staraptor for Defog because it's a waste of a move. I'd say he's definitely has to look in free agency to have some more diversity in his picks. Going into number 6, we've got Ave, coach of the OKC Thunderous, and the teams start to get a bit harder to pick at now. This team, I kind of like this team. Mega Gardevoir has always been a threat. However, having Wigglytuff, I don't think he really needs it, because having 2 fairies and no steel type means that poison types are free to, click Sludge Bomb or Sludge Wave. And I guess he has Mew and Drapion, but he has nothing to like be immune to it. I really like the Gastrodon, the Suicune, Rotom, and Tangrowth 5 Grass Core, and then I guess you can throw Gastrodon in there as well. Landorus, he got this in the 10th round, which that was a really really good pick. I actually like Miltank, however, again, I don't think Wigglytuff needs to be with Miltank. I think Wigglytuff was kind of a rush pick. Mew is really good. Gets Defog. It's his only way of removing hazards. And then Crocodile. Crocodile is actually a very interesting one because it can do a lot of things. Provides him with knockoff. Stab Dark is nice. It gives him a ground type at this point in the draft, which I think he drafted it. He drafted it in the first 5 or 6 rounds. He does have a bit of an ice weakness. And like Freeze Dry is going to pretty much destroy him. The only thing that can really take that on is Rotom Heat, because Gastrodon's weak to it. But overall, I think this is a pretty solid team. I might want to look at some hazard control, because his only way of removing hazards is Mew with Defog, and you don't want to run Defog every single week. But overall, I like this team. And then number 5, we've got Fahad. Sorry, I had a brain father. Coach of the Cleveland Escavaliers, and I actually like this team. He got a Heatran Mega Scizor, which is quite a common and very reliable core because of Flash Fire. I really like the Togekiss as well, and the Goodra, making a really nice Steel Fairy Dragon core there. Nidoking provides him with a very nice ground type, as well as starting to take on fairies on the special side, because you don't really want to be running Flash Cannon every week on Heatran. I like Electros because it gives him another ground immunity. Milotic's really nice as well. Lacks a grass type, but which means he doesn't really... Well, he has Electros to take on water types, so it's not too much of an issue. Exploud is just a nuke. Regirock gives him, maybe a nice sack lead with rocks. You can run the Sturdy Weakness Policy, Rock Polish if you really want to. Machamp, I kind of like Machamp. It gives him stab fighting. Dodrio is probably the only really questionable pick because he has Exploud for stab normal and he has stab flying in Togekiss, and he doesn't really need another ground immunity because he has Electros and Togekiss, with the ground weaknesses being Regirock, who can pretty much eat up Earthquakes, and Heatran. So it's kind of the same issue with Wigglytuff going with the Miltank Mega Gardevoir. However, I think this team is a bit... there's definitely the thought that's gone in there. So yeah, maybe picking up a Dark type, because Psychic could potentially be an issue, because Steel doesn't resist it anymore. So he doesn't really have a resistance or an immunity to that. So that might be something to look at. But overall, I think this is actually a really solid team. Number 4, we've got Ryan, my brother, and the Excadrill Chiefs. And straight away you can see the Excadrill Tyranitar for the Sand core, which right off the bat is really nice. I really like Porygon Florges Mega Blastoise. There's so much bulk there, it's actually disgusting. And Arcanine as well. But just having Porygon 2 and Florges on the same team is really scary. Vileplume, I do believe he got sniped. I can't think who he got sniped of. But he got sniped. I think it was Torterra. But I actually think Vileplume fits a little bit better on his team. I actually really like Vileplume. I'd say it's one of those better value tier 5 mons. Um, Noivern gives him a lot of speed, and it pairs quite nicely with Arcanine, I think. Like, I kind of like using the Arcanine Noivern core, because Arcanine's weak to ground, uh, Noivern's immune, and then Noivern's really weak to ice, and um, Arcanine resists that. So the only thing they can't really cover is rock, and I guess you could argue dragon as well. But I kind of like having that core there. I think Raichu's really nice, gives them a fast electric type. Uh, Lucario is really nice as well. The only pick I'm a bit questionable about is Hitmonchan, because I think he has enough hazard control in Excadrill and Blastoise, and then Lucario is a really good fighting type. So that's probably the only one that I'd say doesn't fit his team as well. But otherwise, I really like his team. And then number 3 is me and the Cell Sharpedos. And if you've watched my or seen my channel, you know about the my draft picks. So yeah, Mega Medicham, Salamence, Amoonguss, Darmanitan, Alomomola was inspired by iPro, but all those 5 picks fit really nicely together. Sylveon gives me like a really nice cleric. It can pass wishes onto Medicham, and like I can baton pass things. Starmie gives me a really nice spinner to pair with. Salamence is a defogger. Hitmontop's a bit questionable. That's probably the only pick that I don't like on my team at all. Mammoth I think is really nice. Gives me stab ice and stab ground. Electivire, I think it's not as fast as Electabuzz, but I prefer having more offensive pressure. And then Garbodor is kind of there because I couldn't get Wheezing or Dusclops, but I think it's quite nice. The only thing I say is wrong with, the only things that I say is wrong with my team is I don't have a lot of hazard stacking, only having Mammoth to really set up rocks, and Garbodor to set up toxic spikes. And then I also don't have a steel type, so poison types are actually a bit of an issue if I don't bring Garbodor or Medicham, but Medicham's probably going to come every game anyway, so yeah, so that's probably something I'll look at in free agency. And number 2, we've got Draco X and the Australian Avalugs, and he actually didn't draft until after Ed, because he was in hospital all day. So he had to go with what was left, and considering what was left, he drafted a very, very scary team. Victini has always been a threat. Put Victini on any team, it instantly becomes a threat. Mega Venusaur is really nice as well. I think Whimsicott can pair quite nicely with that. Jolteon gives him a fast electric type. Skarmory for defog and Mandibuzz for defog. I hate Reuniclus, you all know how much I hate it, but it's scary on this team. Seismitoad gives him a nice water type, a nice electric immunity, as well as Jolteon having one, which can help out with like Skarmory, Mandibuzz. Zoroark is just a tricky Pokemon to prep around. Whirlipede and Machoke, I think they're really nice tier 5 value mons, and they fit really nicely on this team. There's not really a lot of issues with this team at all, and the only reason it's at number 2 is because the number 1 team is just as scary, and I'm just going to go talk about that right now. And it's Hasten and the Philadelphia Flygons, and this team is just scary. Put Kyron Black on any team and it just becomes a threat. And having Vaporeon pair with Mega Aggron is insanely scary. And then he has Excelgor for good hazard stacking. Shaman NT, I really like having Shaman NT. I think that's a really nice core. Weezing's just a nice poison type. Alakazam gives him a lot of speed, which he otherwise doesn't have if you take away Excelgor. Zapdos is really nice, gives him a defogger and a fast electric type. Donphan gives him a really, really solid spinner. However, it is his only way. Oh no, sorry, it's not his only way. He has Zapdos. And Ferret, that's probably the only questionable pick, but it is a Ferret, so we'll get to see what it does. I mean, it gets knockoff. It gets quite a few good moves. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later then.